Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. On a sweltering afternoon in June 2022, deep in the secluded forests of Hitachi-Oda, a discovery shook Japan to its core. Amid dense tree canopies, the body of a young woman was found lying on a hillside, her hands still locked in cold metal handcuffs. Her body was without clothing, as if abandoned cruelly. Notably, the body had already begun to decompose, erasing nearly all direct evidence. Although this case dates back to 2022, the Japanese public continues to follow and debate the details and the final verdict for the perpetrator. Why would a city girl end up dead in a deep forest hundreds of miles from home? In this video, we'll dive into the investigation, uncovering step by step the mysterious details behind the case. If you find today's content worth knowing, please give us a like and share so more people can learn about it. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to follow us in future true crime stories. On the 8th of June 2022, the parents of a 23-year-old woman named Rina Arano reported their daughter missing to the police. Earlier that morning, Rina had told her family she was meeting friends and left home, after which she lost all contact. After 3 days of fruitless searching, the family reported Rina's mysterious disappearance to the Tokyo police. Immediately, the authorities recognized this as an unusual case. A young woman living normally with her family suddenly vanishing after meeting a friend raised serious concerns that something had gone wrong. What drew their attention was that before leaving home, Rina had explicitly mentioned a planned meeting. This suggested she had arranged to meet someone she knew. Consequently, the investigation quickly focused on tracing her recent contacts and relationships. When examining Rina's phone and social media accounts, investigators discovered a crucial lead. Before disappearing, Rina had messaged a 33-year-old man named Hiroyuki Sanpei, arranging to meet him. Rina's family had never heard of him before. Perhaps she had met him online. This lead immediately raised suspicions. Could Sanpei be the last person to see Rina? Police traced phone signals and electronic transactions, discovering that on the morning of the 5th of June, the day Rina left home, she had traveled to Kamito, in Ibaraki Prefecture. There, security cameras recorded Rina meeting a man and getting into his car. Cross-referencing the footage and information, police confirmed that this was Hiroyuki Sanpei, the prime suspect. By the 14th of June 2022, Rina had been missing for 9 days. The Tokyo Criminal Police issued an urgent arrest warrant for Hiroyuki for unlawful detention. The arrest warrant was based on the fact that Sanpei was the last person seen with Rina and may have held her in his mountain villa. When apprehended, Sanpei still denied wrongdoing. He admitted meeting Rina in Kamito and taking her to his villa, but insisted he had not detained her for long. He claimed that they had met online, then agreed to meet for photos and video content, all voluntarily. Based on this statement, police searched Sanpei's villa in Hitachi-Oda, suspected to be the site of the detainment. The villa had a secret basement, providing a perfectly concealed space for criminal activity. Police found multiple traces showing Rina had been there: hair, fingerprints, some personal items, and suspicious props like handcuffs and restraints. Notably, they seized an SD card from Sanpei's belongings. When investigators viewed the content, they were stunned to see images and videos of Rina restrained in the villa basement. Sanpei calmly claimed the binding was a voluntary act for their photo shoot. According to him, Rina had consented to be handcuffed for an adult-themed video, so this was consensual and not an abduction. However, the investigators were not easily fooled. Although the video showed Rina not resisting, if everything had truly been smooth and voluntary, why had she vanished without a trace? Sanpei claimed that after filming, he released Rina and had no idea where she went. Even though Sanpei was the prime suspect, the police did not yet have enough evidence to charge him. From the 14th of June to the 15th of June, Rina was still considered missing and could not be located, so they could not press homicide charges. They could only detain Sanpei for 48 hours to investigate unlawful detention before being required to release him. However, the investigative team did not give up. They quietly monitored Sanpei while meticulously analyzing technological data. At this point, the dashcam system in Sanpei's car would become a turning point in the investigation. Data extraction revealed that on the evening of the 5th of June, after taking Rina to the villa, Sanpei's car continued along a trail deep in the nearby forest. The route showed the car stopping at a remote point along the forest path, about 1 to 2 kilometers from the villa. This behavior led police to suspect Sanpei may have taken Rina there to dispose of her. Immediately, they expanded the search area into the forest surrounding the villa. focusing on the coordinates recorded by the vehicle's GPS. Investigators, with shovels, dogs, and drones, were quickly dispatched to the scene on the 13th of June, scouring the rugged trails. Finally, on the 18th of June 2022, police found the young girl in the remote mountain forest that the vehicle data had indicated. The victim was discovered unclothed, caught in tree branches on the hillside, as if someone had tossed her there. Her hands were bound with handcuffs, and her body showed signs of constriction. Upon discovery, decomposition had already begun, preventing the police from determining the exact cause of death on the spot. Police quickly sealed off the scene and began an autopsy. The victim's body had no serious injuries, but there were light bruises and signs of internal injuries around the neck. The body had been outside for about 2 weeks, but many important traces were still preserved. DNA samples and surrounding traces, such as a small rope found near a tree, several pieces of tape and soil samples from the victim's clothes were also meticulously collected for comparison. Immediately afterwards, the police contacted the Arano family to conduct identification. Although the victim was partially decomposed, Rena's parents still recognized some of their daughter's features, such as her height, her waist-length dark brown hair, and especially the small piercing in her navel that Rena used to wear. They were nearly overwhelmed upon hearing that their long-missing daughter had been found in such a tragic state. To be certain, police compared the victim's DNA with samples from Rena's parents, confirming a complete match. The unfortunate victim was indeed Rena Arano. According to records, Rena was born in 1999, the youngest daughter in a well-off family, living in Bunkyo, Tokyo. Her father was a senior manager at a pharmaceutical company, and her mother was a homemaker from a conservative Christian family. Rena also had an older sister. Both girls were considered well-behaved, charming, and well-educated from a young age. Relatives described Rena as having large, sparkling eyes and a radiant smile that made a positive impression on anyone who met her. Ever since elementary school, she dreamed of becoming an oncologist to treat patients, a noble desire that shows Rena's inner goodness. During high school, Rena stood out at school thanks to her lively, energetic appearance, always bringing a cheerful atmosphere to the classroom. She was straightforward, expressed clear opinions without arrogance, and was well liked by her friends. Rena also showed athletic talent early on, serving as a relay runner representing her class in school-wide sports events. During high school, she often strolled and shopped in lively youth districts like Harajuku and Takeshita Street. The young woman paid special attention to her appearance, maintaining a slender figure at about 5'3", always presenting herself neatly and fashionably, drawing a lot of attention. At home, like many girls entering adolescence, Rena had minor conflicts with her parents, but friends noted that these disputes were mostly about personal freedom and lifestyle, not serious issues. Rena still respected her parents, but she preferred to spend time with her friends. After graduating from high school, most of her classmates went to prestigious universities, but Rena chose a different path, enrolling in a medical college. This choice surprised many of her peers, as few would forego a university opportunity to attend vocational school, especially when Rena had once dreamed of becoming a doctor. Some speculated she wanted to start working quickly, or lacked confidence for university. However, after a short time, she dropped out of the vocational program. Around 2019-2020, Rena moved out of her parents' home, living independently in the Kabukicho district of Shinjuku, a famous nightlife area in Tokyo. This decision shocked and worried her family, as their once obedient daughter was now venturing into a red-light district full of temptations. On her personal Instagram, Rena began posting numerous images from club parties, where young men served drinks to female guests. She frequently appeared at lavish parties, even sharing bills from nights of extravagant entertainment at women's clubs. On one occasion, her spending for a single night reached roughly $5,000. She also posted photos of a young man, subtly implying he was her boyfriend working as a bartender. This suggested she had become deeply immersed in Kabukicho's world, willing to spend lavishly on nights out with her boyfriend. This change put Rena's family under stress. Her parents strongly opposed her new lifestyle, resulting in intense conflicts and even temporary severed contact. Reports suggested Rena sometimes had to borrow money or find quick ways to fund her lavish nights out. Amid this backdrop, Rena ventured into freelance online modeling, a quick money path chosen by many young women in Japan. She created dedicated Twitter and Instagram accounts, regularly posting suggestive photos to attract male clients willing to pay for photos or videos with her. In essence, this was considered a form of adult service. Without an agency, Rina negotiated prices and content directly with clients online. With her attractive appearance and boldness, her accounts quickly gained a large following. According to a magazine, each risque photo shoot could earn her about $700. Compared to working at bars or entertainment venues, this job provided Rina with much greater freedom and faster income. By 2021, she seemed to recognize the dangerous dark side of life in kabukicho. On Instagram, she suddenly announced she would no longer attend her boyfriend's club. She cut ties with him, stopped spending extravagantly at nightclubs, and decided to move back in with her family by the end of 2021. Rina's parents were overjoyed to have her back. They worked to mend relationships, and the family atmosphere gradually became warm again. Early in 2022, Rina told her friends that her relationship with her mother had significantly improved. But not. Returning to the case, after Rina's body was discovered, it was quickly sent for forensic examination. On the 21st of June, preliminary autopsy results confirmed that the left hyoid bone in her neck was fractured. According to the forensic doctor, this bone usually only breaks when a strong external force is applied to the neck. Therefore, the likely cause of death was asphyxiation. Additionally, there were no signs of drug or poison use, as the stomach was nearly empty. The estimated time of death was from noon to early afternoon on the 5th of June, just a few hours after Rina arrived at the villa. This coincided with the time the vehicle data indicated Sanpei left the villa and drove into the forest. Notably, the timestamps on the SD card showed that the footage in the villa's basement were the last images of Rina alive. Combined with the body discovery and forensic results, the police had conclusive evidence that Hiroyuki Sanpei killed Rina in the villa and then transported her into the forest to dispose of the body. On the 24th of June 2022, the police raided Sanpei's apartment in Minami Achikara, Kanagawa, where he lived, and executed a second emergency arrest warrant. When the police showed up, Sanpei appeared surprised and confused, but quickly regained his cool. He did not resist and was quietly handcuffed. When escorted to the station, Hiroyuki Sanpei remained silent, head lowered. Unlike his first arrest, this time he adopted a strategy of complete silence. Every question from investigators was met with evasion or refusal to answer. Nevertheless, with irrefutable evidence in hand, the prosecutors proceeded with the necessary legal proceedings. By early July 2022, police completed transferring the case file to the prosecutor's office. Hiroyuki Sanpei was officially charged with unlawful confinement, murder of Rina Arano, and body disposal. To prevent any attempts to evade criminal responsibility, the court approved an indefinite pretrial detention. While awaiting trial, Sanpei was immediately imprisoned at Tokyo Detention Center under strict supervision. Investigations show that Hiroyuki Sanpei was born in 1988 in Koriyama, Fukushima Prefecture. His family was of average middle-class status. As a child, Sanpei had lived in the United States with his parents and returned to Japan around 6th grade to attend a middle school in Koriyama. As a result, he became more proficient in English than his peers. During adolescence, Sanpei was described by friends as sociable, not particularly outstanding, but not isolated either. He was small in stature but actively participated in the school basketball club with a cheerful spirit. Sanpei had average academic performance and a quiet personality, neither gloomy nor aggressive. In summary, Sanpei as a teenager was a typical Japanese boy, showing no abnormal behavior or psychiatric history. This made it shocking for acquaintances when they later learned of his heinous crimes. After high school, Sanpei may have attended a vocational school or college. Around 2016, he became an employee at a company in Ibaraki Prefecture and lived in Hitachinaka City. During this period, his life took a dark turn. In May 2016, Sanpei assaulted a police officer and was prosecuted for causing injury. Before this case was resolved, in January 2017, he committed a more serious offense. According to Ibaraki police records, on the night of the 6th of May 2016, on a street in Hitachinaka, Sanpei followed a 26-year-old office worker, suddenly embraced her from behind, threw her to the ground, and harassed her. The victim screamed and resisted fiercely, causing him to panic and flee. Although the incident occurred in May 2016, it was not until May 2017 that the police gathered enough evidence to arrest Sanpei for coercion and assault. This detail indicated that his twisted nature had appeared early. He seemed to have a deviant tendency, targeting unfamiliar women to satisfy his urges. It is unclear how the court ruled on these charges, but rumors suggested that his wealthy family paid compensation to the victim and helped him avoid a heavy prison sentence. After 2017, he continued to live a normal life outside of society. Neighbors in Hitachinaka, Ibaraki said that in 2017, they met a young couple named Koriyama who moved in. It was Sanpei and his newlywed wife. The couple moved to the rural area of Hitachinaka, living in a small house. Sanpei appeared to be a quiet, kind husband, keeping a small dog as a pet. He even built a small wooden house on the porch for daily tea with his wife. This scene led neighbors to believe they were a happy newlywed couple. However, this peaceful life did not last long. Just 6 months later, Sanpei told neighbors that he had been transferred by his company to Kawasaki, Kanagawa. The couple packed up and moved into an apartment in Minami Achikara, a quiet residential area at the foot of the mountains. Even after moving, they did not sell their house in Hitachinaka, keeping it as a weekend retreat. However, according to neighbors, since early 2022 they only saw Sanpei alone, without his wife. It is likely that the couple had separated or divorced at the beginning of 2022. Perhaps his wife recognized his deviant nature and decided to leave. Notably, in the months leading up to the crime, Sanpei increasingly frequented the villa, even appearing there every day of the week. It turned out that this unusual behavior was a sign of a premeditated crime. On the morning of the 5th of June 2022, the dark scenario began. Rina Arano left her home in Tokyo under the pretense of meeting a friend, but in reality, she was going to a private photo shoot arranged with Hiroyuki Sanpei. On the way to the villa in Hitachiota, Sanpei acted friendly while their car gradually turned into a remote forested area. Around 11 a.m., the two arrived at the isolated wooden villa, where Sanpei had a discreet basement converted into a photo studio. The shoot initially went smoothly. Rina followed his requests, changing into provocative outfits, and even agreeing to wear handcuffs to enhance the shoot's appeal. However, the moment she accepted being restrained, she fell into his true trap. Sanpei quickly overpowered and assaulted Rina, ultimately causing her death. After the crime, he removed all her clothing to erase DNA evidence, then wrapped her and placed her in his car. He drove along a forest path near Fukushima, over a kilometer from the villa. Unable to dig a grave, he dumped her onto a densely vegetated slope, leaving Rina caught among the trees, completely exposed to the elements. Sanpei then returned to the villa, cleaned up roughly, and returned to his normal life, confident that his crimes would not be discovered. The investigation records assessed Sanpei as a two-faced person. On the outside, he was a quiet employee, a gentle husband, but on the inside, he hid a perverted desire to control and humiliate others. By 2022, perhaps due to the breakdown of his personal life, Sanpei had fallen deeper into wrongdoing. He actively sought out online models like Rina, showing that he wanted to satisfy his sick animal instincts, secretly taking advantage of girls who took jobs without the protection of a management company. On the other hand, despite being just an office worker with an average income, Sanpei was still willing to spend a large amount of money on Rina, showing a special obsession with her. He had a remote villa with a secret basement, the ideal place to carry out his plot. These factors indicate that Sanpei's actions were premeditated. He was careful to conceal his crime, choosing a remote location with no witnesses, using the photo shoot as a pretext to make the victim comply with restraints, then disposing of her in the deep forest. However, Sanpei did not anticipate that modern technology in his car and cameras would become evidence exposing the entire crime. The case shocked the nation and was quickly sent to the Tokyo District Court to prepare for a criminal trial with a jury. Hiroyuki Sanpei was charged with kidnapping, unlawful confinement, murder, sexual assault, and body disposal. From the start, the defendant chose to exercise his right to remain silent, refusing to confess. As a result, the trial relied mainly on objective evidence. By the end of 2022, the prosecution completed the indictment, with the first trial expected to take place within 1-2 years. Public information about the trial does not yet indicate a conclusion, suggesting proceedings may still be confidential. For murder, the penalty in Japan ranges from 30 years in prison, life in prison to the death penalty. The death penalty is usually reserved for cases where there are 2 or more victims, or one victim but the circumstances are particularly brutal. In Sanpei's case, although he only killed one person, his actions included aggravating factors such as coercion, premeditated murder, destruction of evidence, and lack of remorse. Therefore, it is highly likely that the court will sentence him to life imprisonment without parole. Some opinions suggest the death penalty could also be considered due to the brutality and societal danger of the act. The Rina Arano case shocked public opinion in Japan in mid-2022, sparking widespread grief and outrage, especially since the verdict for the perpetrator has yet to be made public. The case also reignited the debate over the potential risks in online modeling work, where many young women negotiate directly with strangers without protection, making them vulnerable targets for crime. In your opinion, what sentence would be most appropriate for the perpetrator's cruel actions in this case? Share your thoughts in the comments section below, and if you think this story deserves wider attention, leave a like and share it so everyone can stay alert around strangers. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications right now, because here we always update the latest and most shocking cases from around the world. For now, goodbye and see you next time.